Hey guys, Bill Soriano here from Pittsburgh. It's Sunday, June 1st already, guys. June 1st already. And this is my Sniper Pro Scanner Overview PDF. I just dropped a new video in here yesterday. The 15-minute strategy using the higher time frame confirmation, right? And I have a whole trading plan listed here for you guys. And so I showed you a couple trades. If you watch this video, you see a couple setups from last week. And and today I just kind of want to go through. I'm scanning through the scanner right now, and I'm checking to see which pairs had a scorecard candle go off, and which of those pairs was the trade going with the higher time frame trend. Remember, we were using three moving averages to determine that higher time frame trend, the 800, the 50, and the 200. So the 50 is the aqua, the gray is the 200, the blue is the 800. You have to do this in TradingView, guys. As you watch my video, you'll see how to do this. You want the DeLorean EMA indicator. It's a free indicator. It lets you put up to five moving averages on there. And I just need the three on the chart here. And so you can see as long as price is below the 800, the 50 is below the 200, that's bearish. So the scanner itself is just using one moving average to determine the trend. I like to use three. So if I see this 50 cross above the 200 at some point, then I don't consider that bearish anymore. So I like to see these in line. They don't have to be in line, but price does have to be below the 800, and then 50 has to be below the 200. Okay. So, sometimes the price can be below the 800 and the 50 can be below the 200, but the 50 and the 200 are up above the 800. That's okay. That's okay if that happens. But we want them to be like this. And then for a buy, it's just the other way. We want we want price above the 800, which it is here, and the 50 above the 200. So I've gone through and I've seen, which pairs had a scorecard candle go off, Thursday or Friday last week. There's like a position, the variables are showing up for the trade, the stop loss and the take profits and everything. So I just want to kind of go through those here. So the first one I have here is Odd Chef. Okay. So this is this trade is as a sell, obviously, was a potential idea, right? The scanner is not spitting out signals for you to just go and take the trades, right? You have to follow the trade plan that I set out for you here, or your own trade plan, whichever one you want to use. But there's six different conditions here that have to exist. So five other conditions along with that scorecard candle. Okay. So you can see here, first of all, this is a gray candle, so that's no good. And there's a blue arrow underneath it. And then the trend down here is blue as well. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, that's where you have to go back here and you have to watch this video here. Okay. Because I can't explain everything all over again. So anyway, you would not take a trade there. You get a super sniper arrow here and a red candle, but you could see that red candle just is not a very good candle to take a trade on. But the very first thing that I wanted to mention, guys, is price has to be, remember here, for a sell like that, price was in the upper Bollinger Bands. Now, to me, this is where I make a distinction. There are actually three lines here for the Bollinger Bands here. This is a proprietary volatility indicator that the scanner uses. It's like Bollinger Bands, but it's not actually Bollinger Bands. But you can see here, there's three lines, but see how the second and third line are the better areas for me. So right here, you could see that before this scorecard candle goes off, price never gets to that second line there. I like price to get inside that second line. So here it just gets inside the first line with a wick here. And so I don't like that right off the bat. So I I wouldn't even look at this setup any further just because of that. And you can see here that although price does make a move down, it does make a move back up, and it almost gets invalidated here. But the thing you have to remember is if you can't enter off of the scorecard candle, so if everything doesn't line up on the scorecard candle, uh, you can possibly enter on that next candle, but more than likely, you're going to want to wait then for price to pull back to 50% of the retest zone. That's when you want to use the retest zone. Okay. And the thing is, with this indicator, you can't really set limit orders there because you have to look and see what happens on that candle that goes into that retest zone. So let's just say that this this wick went up into that second line there, and I thought that that was a good pullback. So I'm looking to take this. I'm looking to take this again. This candle's no good for me. Uh, so basically now I have to wait for a pullback to 50% of the zone. And so as it does that right here, you could see that we've now turned blue. Our trend line is now blue. So price has pulled back into that zone. We got a blue super sniper arrow on the candle prior. We have a blue sniper arrow here. The trend is blue. So there's no way that we want to look at taking that trade anymore. And then once price invalidates this retest zone, it's no longer a valid trade. That makes it invalid. So these are all the things you have to look at, guys. It's not just like, hey, the scanner gives me a scorecard, I'm going to jump in the trade. No, no. And so again, if you can't get in, if everything doesn't line up on that scorecard candle, right? Meaning for a sell, you have a red or gold candle, right? You have a you have a red sniper arrow or super sniper arrow above it, and then your trend down here is red, and it's not. So if you can't get in on the scorecard candle because all of your conditions aren't met, then you may be able to get in after the next candle if all the conditions are met. And then after that, you will want to wait for a pullback to 50% of the retest zone. Okay. And you know, if you watch the if you're in GFU and you watch the tutorials by Manny, he tells you he gives you information on how to enter 50% of the retest zone. So and then again, though, you don't want to set a limit order there. You want to wait for those candles. You got to watch and see what those candles do. How do they close? Uh, are the sniper arrows red or blue? Is the trend still in line? And if it's not, you can't take that trade. And then once price closes outside of that zone, above that zone here for a sell, that trade's now invalid. Okay, this is another one that I came to. This is a blue sell buy scorecard for EUR AUD. And again, the 4-hour trend when I went to Trading View was bullish, right? When you look at the 3 moving average EMAs, the 50 to 200 and the 800. Okay. It's also going to be bullish on here. If you find that it's bullish using those 3 EMAs, then when you go to the 4-hour here, it's also going to be bullish here. Because remember, the scanner is just using the one long-term EMA to determine the trend. We're using 3. Okay, so what do you have here? You have a blue scorecard, but right away your candle's gray. You do have a blue sniper arrow underneath here. Now, price did come back, right, into your volatility zone, right? You can see here it goes inside of that second line. The wick goes inside and actually inside the first line here. But you have a blue candle and your trend is still red down here. The next candle, I'm sorry, a gray candle, so you can't enter. The next candle is blue, but this is not the type of candle you want to enter on, guys. Right? This is not the type of candle you would want to enter on because this candle is rejecting off of the move up and then price is closing lower. Okay. So this is like a what they call a shooting star candlestick pattern. but you wouldn't want to enter off of that candle. And you can't anyway because the trend is still red down here in the sniper later oscillator. Okay. So now we would have to wait, obviously, for price to pull back to the retest zone here. And then, we would want to see what happens from there. So this is a trade that we'll have to watch this week. I'll try to keep an eye on it. I made a note of it. Try to watch this week to see what it does. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is EURCOD. Okay, so this is a buy, and again, the 4-hour was bullish. Price went in. Okay, so this is another one where price never gets into that second volatility band, right? Made it into the first one, but not the second one. So to me, uh, that's kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? That's a deal breaker for me. I want to see price get into that second zone, but let's just assume that it did. We have a +3 candle, a +3 scorecard, but the candle's gray and there's a red sniper arrow above it, so it's just not a good candle. Um, the sniper later trend direction is bearish all the way across here. And so this is one where we would have to wait for price to move back into that zone. It is making a move up here. Do have a nice blue candle right here. This would be a blue candle that, again, if it was closer to the scorecard candle, you could think about entering on that, right? But again, you can't because the sniper later is still bearish down here. Okay, so this is one, because price doesn't get back into this inside of this second volatility band line, I really don't even want to look at it. Now the indicator, the scorecard will show up as long as price did get inside that first line. But I like to see price inside the second one. Okay, let's look at another one here. So GBPAUD. This is giving us a buy. We're bullish on the 4-hour as well. You can see the price kind of gets inside it, kind of touches that second line of the volatility band right there. So I'm kind of okay with that. I'd like to see it get inside of there a little bit more. But again, our we have a 3 scorecard candle, but the candlestick is gray and there's a red arrow above it. The next candle does turn blue, but you could see it has a red background, which isn't good. And it's, again, not the kind of impulse candle that we would want to enter on. We're looking for a candle like this, right? A big blue body with very little wicks to the top and the bottom. Nice impulse candle like that. So this one, we would have to wait for price to get into 50% of the retest zone. Now, we are getting some good indicators down here. Price did go, you have a bullish retest. You have the cloud kind of forming underneath there. You have a crossover dot, right? Crossover dot there. So it's giving you all good signals down there. The sniper later is blue. But again, we need price to move in that 50% into that zone, and then we need to watch to see what that candle does and see if everything lines up. Okay. And again, if price closes below that retest zone, then that invalidates the trade. So we'll keep an eye on this one next week to see what it does. And there's just a couple more that I wanted to show you guys today here. GBP, not that one. Or was it this one? Okay, this was a +7. Let me just make sure here. GBPCAD. Yeah, this is bullish. When we look at the moving averages, the 800 and the 50s above the 200, prices above the 800. Well, let's look at this one since we have it up here. Price does move inside of that second volatility band, right? Remember, there's volatility bands here. There's 3 lines. The scorecard will show up as long as it gets inside that first line. I like to see it get inside the second line. Okay, we have a +7 scorecard. That's pretty big. We also have a super sniper arrow and a sniper arrow, both blue, alongside of it, with it. That's awesome, but the problem is the candle itself is gray. Okay, and our sniperator is giving us a bearish trend direction down below. So we would, and then the next candle's gray as well with a red outline. So can't do nothing there. We're still bearish here on the sniperator. Price is now has come back to 50% of that retest zone. It almost invalidates it, but not quite. Okay, so we can still look to see what would happen with this trade. We do have some nice bullish reversal. We have a blue sniperator line. We have a blue cloud. We have actually 3 blue crossover dots, which is they're all good signals for us to kind of keep watching this to see what it does this week. But again, if price closes below this zone here, it invalidates it. And, we need to get a nice candle to enter off of after price, does come back to the 50% point of this zone. GBP, I got 2 more here. I'm going to show you guys GBP USD. Okay, so this is GBP USD. This was bullish, of course, on the 4-hour. Price has come back inside of that second volatility band. Price is kind of really consolidating here. We have a +5 here. We do have real-time divergence. That's big down here in the sniperator. But we have a blue sniper candle and a blue super sniper candle as well with that +5, but the candlestick itself is gray. Now, the next candle, very important to look at this here. The next candle, see this blue, this is a nice blue candle, but again, it's an indecision candle. Why? Because the body's not that big and you have a big wick to the top and a big wick to the bottom. This isn't, just not a good candle to enter off of, even though the sniper arrow down below is blue and the trend line has now turned blue. We have divergence. We had somewhat of a bullish retest. We have a blue sniperator. Of course, those are all optional conditions. But again, because this candle is an indecision candle, you wouldn't want to enter on. Now, let's see what happens as price comes back to. We want to wait for price to come back to 50% of this retest zone. It does right here, right? But again, look at this candle. This candle now has a red sniper arrow. The trend is now turned red. And then the next candle just invalidates this zone. So we would not want to look at this trade anymore. And this is why you don't take the trade off of these gray candles. You need a blue candle here or a gold candle. Gold candle is better. Let's look at one more here. We have NZD, CHF, and then we're going to finish it up here. Okay, this was this one, something a little bit, the indicator's a little bit off here. It's giving us something up here, but this is a +6. It's a bearish trade here. The 4-hour was bearish when I looked at trading view. There's something wrong with the indicator here. It's kind of overlapping, but we could see that price did come back into that. Price really never comes back to that second line, right? Doesn't get out inside of that second line here, guys. So again, this isn't a trade that I would really want to watch. However, we're going to keep an eye on it because we do have a +6. We have a red sniper arrow. Again, this isn't the best type of candle to enter off of. You'd like to see the body of this candle here be a little bit bigger and less wick to the downside here because that's rejection. But it was the end of the week on Friday, so that could have caused something like that. Now we do see here that the trend direction is red down here in the sniper later. You have a bearish and that's the required. So everything, it has all the required uh conditions, right? Of course, yeah, I'd like to see the price move back inside of that second volatility line, but it didn't. I'd also like to see a better candle here, okay? But you do have the +6, you do have the red sniper candle, and you do have the red trend down here. And as additional confirmation, you have the bearish retest, and you have two bearish crossover dots there, or bullets, whatever you want to call them. So this is a trade we're going to want to look at for next week. So we have three pairs to look at: EUR AUD, GBP AUD, and NZD Chef. And I'm gonna go over these probably on Monday, see how the trades turned out with them, right? I'm gonna take a picture of these three so that I have them so that I can show you a before and after. Because what will happen is if these trades take off one way or the other, then the scorecard and parameters for the trade will disappear at some point. Okay, guys, if you haven't gotten my new Sniper Pro PDF file here with all the new trading plan here, the new trading plan that I just showed you, all the conditions are here. Again, if you want to join GFU, if you're not a member of GFU yet, this bonus is still available until probably until June 3rd here. I did write June 3rd down here. I didn't write it up here. Okay. So June 3rd. So get with me if you have this PDF, and you can just click on the link and join, but you want to get with me before you do that so that I can mark you down for that additional $50 bonus that I'm giving out. And on that, you have to wait until you make your first rebill payment, which will be $184.95. And normally to sign up with GFU, it's $300, but you're getting this $50 off bonus, so it'll be $250 when you sign up today or whenever you sign up, as long as the bonus is still valid. The bonus link is still valid, which it should be until June 3rd. And then after you make your first rebill payment in 28 days of $184.95, you'll send me a message, and I'll shoot you a $50 bonus as well. So make it a great day, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend, and have a great week coming up this week.